good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Bristol Township Zoning Hearing Board. I'd like to start with, please stand, remove your hats for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, if everybody could just bear with us for a few minutes. We do have some zoning hearing board business we got to take care of. We got to do a reorganization of the board. And before we get started with that, as you can see, usually sitting here is our solicitor. We're going to vote on a new solicitor tonight. But our previous solicitor, Ken Fetterman, sent me an exit letter. Just summarize the exit letter because of constraints with time. He basically said he was thanking the zoning board and the citizens of Bristol Township for letting him to be on the zoning hearing board for 11 years. And I would like personally to thank Ken Fetterman for everything he's done for me. He always had my back. He always had this board's back. We were just going to go a different way going forward. With that being said, if anybody else wants to give any personal, attentions to Ken, please feel free to do so at this moment. If not, we're going to get started on the reorganization.
I just want to add, he was a big help. I mean, he's always had our back.
Right. Okay. Thank you. All right, so let's do reorganization. So I'm going to take nominations at this time for vice chair. I would like to nominate Mark DeMarcus. I need a second on Mark DeMarcus.
I'll second.
Is there any other nominations for vice chair? I see none. I'll call the board on the nomination for vice chair, Mark DeMarcus. Gerard.
Yes.
Colleen.
Yes.
Jim McMahon, yes. Okay, for secretary of the board, I need a nomination for secretary. I'm gonna nominate Ed Murphy.
I'll second.
Though Ed Murphy's not here right now, I spoke to him earlier. He accepted the nomination for secretary. I'm going to call the board on a nomination for Ed Murphy. Mark DeMarcus.
Yes.
Gerard Lycon.
Yes.
Colleen Dunn.
Yes.
Okay. At this time, I'm going to hand it over to the vice chair for nominations for chairman.
For chairman, I would like to nominate Jim McMahon.
I'll second.
You want to call the board or should I call the board?
No, okay, call it.
Okay. All right. Gerard?
Yes.
Mark DeMarcus, yes. Colleen?
Yes.
Okay, that's it for that. So next is on our new solicitor. So I'm assuming I need a nomination for the new solicitor.
I'll make a motion for Keith Bidlingmeyer to be our solicitor.
I need a second.
I'll second it.
Okay, I'll call the board. Mark DeMarcus.
Yes.
Gerard Lycon.
Yes.
Colleen Dunn.
Yes.
Jim McMahon, yes. All right, Keith, please come on up. All right, so at this time, I'm going to need a nomination for stenographer.
I'll nominate Cindy Alvario.
I need a second.
I'll second it.
I'll call the board. Mark DeMarcus.
Yes.
Colleen Dunn.
Yes.
Gerard Lycon.
Yes.
Jim McMahon, yes. All right, so that is it for the reorganization of the Bristol Township Zoning Hearing Board. Thank you, everybody. Right, to business. So number 4 on the agenda, Roseanne and David Rose, 3005, Old Rogers Road. So I need a continuance on number 4 till April. Can I get a motion for a continuance?
I'll give a motion for that.
I need a second.
I'll second.
I'll call the board. Colleen Dunn.
Yes.
Mark DeMarcus.
Yes.
Gerard Lycon.
Yes.
Jim McMahon, yes. Okay, and I also need, at this time, before we get into a motion, so I have received an email, Colleen Costello received an email. In response to your email today, the applicant, iCarriers, is surveying the property for the zoning hearing board review in April of 2024. Please schedule iCarrier plan for review for Bristol Township Zoning Hearing Board April 2024 agenda. Should you have any questions or want to discuss, please feel free to contact me. Best regards, Bradford Lair, Esquire. So with that email being, I need a motion for a continuance for number 10 for April 2024.
I'll make a motion.
I need a second.
I'll second.
Gerard Lycon,
Yes.
Mark DeMarcus.
Yes.
Colleen Dunn.
Yes.
Jim McMahon, yes. Okay, that's that for that. Cindy, just for the record, Ed has a excused absence today. All right, number 1 on the agenda, Surfing Carino, 1701 Maple Avenue, Croydon, PA. Please come on up. Good, Keith?
Yes.
Yep,
All right.
all yours.
Good evening, Board. Bryce McGuigan from Begley Carlin here on behalf of the applicant, Seraphine Carino, for the property located at 1701 Maple Avenue. If the Board may remember, I believe this has been before the Board not once, but 2 separate times over the past 9 months or so. I understand, I see that there's quite a few people in the room tonight, so I'm not going to belabor the issue, being as I believe the Board is very familiar with the particular property and application at issue. Specifically, we're obviously here for the garage that was constructed without permits on the property. This property sits at the corner of Maple and Sheldon Avenue. The garage is still the same as it was when the Board considered it twice previously. However, since that time, the applicant has taken the input of the Board, as well as the input of his neighbor, who has appeared multiple times in opposition to this garage. We know it's too close to the property line. We understand that. So at this point, what the applicant has done since we've been here previously is he's retained his surveyor to make a modification of the site plan. What we're proposing here is to remove the side of the garage unit, so that way it maintains the previously existing 5.7 foot side yard setback. This will remove 3 feet of garage. What we've also done is we have called and spoken with PICO about the utility power pole that's right in front of the existing garage and basically renders it somewhat useless for a car. They have agreed to move that pole one way or the other. They just told us to reach out to them to confirm, and prior to the work being done, that they are more than willing to move that pole for us. So at the end of the day, compared with the previous application that we've proposed, we are proposing to still remove the same portions of impervious surface, same walkways to the rear of the property, same walkways in between the prior carport and the home, and the walkway to the far side of the property. We're also removing that 3 foot wide portion of the garage. So we will be reducing the impervious surface, the building coverage, as well as the side yard setback relief requests that we previously requested. We still do require 4 separate variances for side yard setback, front yard setback, coverage, and impervious surface. What I will say is, as with the prior application, we are again proposing formal stormwater management to offset the increase in impervious surface, and we believe and we know that we're going to have to offset that and bring it back to the actual permitted rate of disturbance. We understand that, we agree to that. And I have my client here who can come on up in a moment to proffer to my statements and take any questions that the board may have. Seraphin? There you go.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I swear.
Seraphin, if you could do me a favor and just introduce yourself to the board and tell them where you live.
Yes, hi, my name is Serafin Corino. I live on 1701 Maple Avenue,
right.
Croydon.
And we're here tonight because, let me put it this way, you've been here before, right?
Yes, correct, couple times. Yeah.
For this same exact issue, is that right?
Yeah, that's correct.
And you know that at the end of the day, you got nobody to blame for yourself because you did this without permits, right?
Yes, that's correct.
And now, obviously, you understand that you got to go through the permitting process first and hopefully avoid some of the pain and suffering of 3 separate zoning hearing board trips, right?
Right, I understand.
Okay.
Yeah.
You also know that previously your direct neighbor has come out a couple times because he's had an issue with how close this garage is to his property. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct.
And that's why we're proposing to remove this 3-foot section of the garage so that we are maintaining the side yard setback that existed previously on the property before you did any of this. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
And at one of your prior hearings when you were before this board, you also heard some concerns regarding the existing Pico pole that's right smack dab in front of your garage. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And since that time, you've also had the opportunity to speak with Pico and to confirm that, yes, they will move that utility pole so that way it won't present a hazard or it won't make this garage essentially useless for vehicles, correct?
That's correct.
And that's a condition that you will be improving upon what was there previously and something that will be existing at the property even long past you're the owner, correct?
That's correct.
All right. You've heard all the statements I made to the board earlier.
Yes, I did.
Did you understand those statements?
I did.
True and correct to the best of your knowledge.
Yes.
Is there anything that you would change or add?
No.
Are you willing to adopt those statements as your testimony here this evening?
Yes.
And you also know, just to confirm, that even if you receive any approvals tonight, you still will need to comply with all permitting requirements by the township, correct?
That's correct.
Which includes the installation of stormwater management, so that way you don't result, these improvements don't result in any increase in stormwater going to any of your neighbors' properties, correct?
Correct.
And you're committed to doing that?
Yes.
And you have your surveyor in place who's going to help you with it, correct?
Yes, I do.
All right. So with that, that concludes the applicant's presentation, and we're more than willing to address any questions that the board may have.
Any questions from the board?
Yes. How old is this garage that you built?
It's about 4 years, about 5 years.
About 5 years.
Yeah, about 5 years.
Did you remove any pavers, anything for the impervious?
No, I did not.
And Pico said they're gonna move the pole how soon?
They say, actually, they have posts laying on the street. Whenever they're ready, just let them know and they can move it either side. But they say they cannot make they cannot make me a letter.
Okay.
But I had to contact them when they're ready to do it.
And obviously I heard you're aware that you have to do stormwater management.
Correct, yes.
So you have to have an engineer draw this all up
Yes,
to control all your water.
yes, correct.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? Oh, anything to add? Anybody from the audience like to come up for or against this project? All right, I need a motion from the board. I'm gonna make a motion to approve. I need a second.
I'll second.
Colleen Dunn,
Yes.
Gerard Lycon,
No.
Mark DeMarcus,
Yes.
Jim McMahon, yes. All right, there you go. There you go. 3 times is a charm.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yep. Next on the agenda, Rashaba Panchal, 502 Neshaminy Road, Croydon. Please come on up. You got your mail-ins. Yep. Please hand them to the solicitor, please. Absolutely, please.
I have to give them. They need tickets. Sorry. Do you have a copy of the letter that you sent? Use their form.
You solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth,
Yeah, I do.
state your name for the record.
Rishabh Panchal.
Good. Proceed.
Okay, my name's Rishabh Panchal. I live in 502 Neshaminy Road, Croydon. I built a driveway. I didn't knew I needed a permit. I'm the first time home buyer. I called the builder who built the house. They said, you're a home buyer, you're fine. So once I found out, I did whatever they asked me to do. Because, yeah, I only had one driveway, so I made additional. So I didn't know I needed permit.
Well, I hate to sound like a broken record here, but I'm gonna say it again. You need a permit for everything. If you don't think you need a permit, call the township. They'll let you know, one way or the other.
No, they told me that.
Yeah,
And then I
no.
put a
I'm-
sod, so I called in.
I'm saying it to all the millions of viewers we have out there for the zoning hearing boards.
No, then I had another project of putting sod, so I called in and they were like, you don't need permit for that. I was like, okay. Sod, S-O-D, yeah, sod, yeah.
Any idea how much he's over impervious, Bo?
I don't know offhand, Jim. I can get that answer for you. It should have been in the denial letter that he received, book packet.
No, they didn't set any percentage. They did highlight that, I'm permitted 85 or 35% something, and
Right.
I was over that. But I called in to speak to an officer to see how much it was over. They didn't answer me.
It's 35%.
Okay,
I can get that answer for you, Jim. if need be.
Well, I think he's here more for the permit, permit?
It is for the impervious. He's
Okay.
over his impervious.
Okay, he's definitely over his impervious, but we don't know how much.
yeah, I don't know, sorry. Yeah, it's
It's
an
u-
individual house. I had
Usually
one
in here,
driveway.
But I don't see it in the packet anywhere. How soon do you think you can get it for us, Bo?
Probably within 2 minutes.
All right, give Bo 2 minutes. We get a brief recess. If anyone has to go to the bathroom or anything, please feel free to do so. Give him 2 minutes, please. Thank you.
I said no because I did it 5 years ago. What's this shit? Garage. Just looks bad.
If we all agree, we won't be here, right?
Hmm?
If we all agree on everything, we
I'm,
won't be here.
I'm fine. I stuttered. I wanted to say no. I did say no, but.
Got 40%. 5% over.
5% over?
Yes.
Okay. Well, thanks, Bo. Didn't mean to put you on the spot like
Nah,
that.
that's great.
I'm sorry, I forgot to introduce Bo. Bo Fleming is the building planning supervisor, for the record, so. Okay, so we're 5% over. Anybody have any questions for this gentleman? No?
No questions, but I stopped out and looked at it, the property. His house is beautiful, sidewalk, or the driveway he did in concrete, and it's a one-car driveway. It looks great. Everything looks like it's in order except no permit.
I apologize
Yeah,
for
you
that.
gotta
I
get
called the
permits.
builder and he's like, yeah, you are a homeowner, you'll be fine. I was like, okay.
Okay, all right. Anybody from the audience like to come up for or against this project? No? Okay. Go ahead, Bo.
Who was the builder that told you didn't need a permit?
Oh, jeez.
I can look it up. I think it's FNJ Builders.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, you just got him in trouble. No. Good.
That's okay.
Okay, so at this time, I need a motion from the board.
I'll give a motion for it.
I'll second.
Okay, Colleen Dunn. Gerard Lycon.
Yes.
Mark DeMarcus.
Yes.
Jim McMahon. Yes. Okay, thank you, sir. You're good.
So I'm good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anything else? Permits, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
I called in.
You'll never be back here again, right? No.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so that was 3, 4 is a continuance. 5 is Robert and Barbara Hawk, 3711 Nicole Street, Newportville. Please come on up.
Yeah, do you have a PowerPoint? Thank you. Are you both gonna be speaking or just one? Me. Just, okay. obviously the Bristol Township zoning one? Or, do you have?
only PowerPoint on there, those are PDF. That one.
Just remind me, it has to be one at a time.
No problem.
Can you raise your right hands, please? Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? State your name for the record, please.
Hey, oh, Robert Hawk. Okay, yeah. Robert and Barbara Hawk, 3711 Nicole Street, Newport Road, PA. We're requesting a variance. A lot of these setbacks were already there. Our house, the front setback is like 13.9, well, 14.4 we proposed. The rear setback is, if you go to the next thing, I can see where this is existing, so we were already, and that dotted rectangle, that shows where we should be if we were to comply with the setback. So, house was built a long time ago, before those setbacks existed, and that's where our current dwelling is. It was built in '56. So, the next one shows. So proposed, we were gonna extend the porch, which is the same distance as the existing porch, but it's just it's longer, so we can put some chairs out there. And we're gonna put like a 3-season room and a deck on the back. So at the end of the day, the setback will be 25 feet in the rear and 19 or 14.4, 14 foot 4 inches in the front. And the other thing we had was the impervious. It's supposed to be 30 and we're 32. And, the building size, I guess, the dwelling, it's, I guess, it was supposed to be 20, we're 20.1 proposed. So, and if you scroll through, there's other pictures of, well, this is where we got the data, and keep going, there's pictures of the house.
Architect was supposed to be here tonight, but she got the flu.
Yeah, so we kind of threw this together in a hurry. So, so that's what we're hoping you'll allow us to build. Well, remodel our house to this. We were thinking about retiring and moving. We decided we'd rather stay, but we wanted to have an upgrade.
Okay. Is that it?
Yep.
Any questions from the board? Comments, concerns? All right, Bo, anything to add?
Nothing at all.
Anybody from the audience like to come up for or against this project? Okay. I need a motion from the board.
I'd like to give a motion for it.
I'll second.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I'll call the board. Mark DeMarcus.
Yes.
Gerard Lightcon.
Yes.
Eileen Dunn.
Yes.
Jim McMahon, yes. Okay, there you go.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Sachin Patel, 367 Apple Tree Drive, Levittown, PA. Please come on up. So you don't have, so you don't have a picture of the yellow paper that you gotta put in the window?
Oh, yeah, that's at home.
Did you have a picture of that posting? Do you have,
I seen it, it is up.
Gerard's seen it?
I
Okay.
seen it, yeah, it was up yesterday.
Okay, all right.
Was it posted at least 2 weeks in advance of today?
When they call me, and
Okay.
then I put it on the window.
Okay.
And then one of them I put it like by the, on the tree.
All right.
I can't, I'm not getting it.
All right.
Okay,
Sorry.
no, you're good,
We're good.
we're good.
Spell your name for me.
All right, so Mr. Patel doesn't speak any English, he's gonna have his son translate for him, so,
Can you raise your hand first?
Okay.
Do you solemnly swear that you will accurately translate the testimony given forth this evening?
Yes.
Can you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Lord.
Yeah, it is green.
You good, Cindy? All right, you can proceed. Does he have a presentation, Bo, or no? All right, good. What do you got for us?
We were needing to get approved for the permit, and we did like half inch of concrete around this house. We did like the concrete around the house, and we just need to get it approved for the permit. Like, we applied it 2 times, but we never got it in. Like, we got rejected for twice. We never like got approved for the permit, yeah. We just got rejected it. Reject, yeah.
Is that it? That's all you got? Anybody have any questions from the board?
This is already complete.
Is the work done already?
Yeah. Like, we were just needing to get approved for the permit that we got from the township.
So you didn't get a permit, you did the work without a permit?
Yeah. It wasn't like that, too big, but it was just like around the house. We did like half inch of it. Because like we had, when we bought the house, like the neighbor said that it was kind of like the raccoons and all that stuff was like annoying. Like, they were digging holes around the backyard and then on the side. So like we were thinking that if we can get like do by itself half of an inch of it.
Anybody else have any questions?
There should be pictures on the thing.
Okay,
I did attend the court today. I had him at 2:15. I did went to the court today,
okay.
and they said like you just have to go to a meeting today. That's all.
Go ahead, Bo.
The court that he is referring to, one of our code enforcement officers has pending citations against this property. So they most likely gave a continuance today because he's going to the zoning hearing board tonight.
Okay,
So that's what he's referring to, going to court today.
okay.
He's going to court for what?
Violations.
Working without permits.
Okay.
Oh, is that for something other than what they're here for today?
Now, that's what they're here for today. to working without permits.
Just to clarify, they were at court today for the concrete work?
Yes.
So I don't see no pictures here. You said you had pictures? You gotta talk into the mic.
This is the picture that they showed us. Like, this is the area that we did it with the red marks only. I said this is the only one with the red marks that we did it. Okay.
What's the difference in the side yards, or the setback? Get on here. Any idea what the difference is on the setback? Bo? So they're 5 foot over.
Excuse me, Bo. Is he able to do some kind of stormwater management? I mean, there's a lot of square footage of concrete here.
Tech didn't say anything about stormwater management for the amount that was put in.
All right, anybody else have any questions? Anybody from the audience?
Five over?
35 over?
Is that what it says, 5 over?
5, the setback is 5 over. All right.
I'll make a motion to deny the application.
Okay,
I'll second it.
thanks, Colleen.
Sorry.
No. I honestly didn't know where to go with this one, to be honest with you. My bad. So we got a motion to deny, we got a second to deny. Mark DeMarcus,
Yes, to deny.
Gerard Lycon,
Yes.
Colleen Dunn,
Yes.
Jim McMahon, yes. All right, sorry, you're gonna have to, I don't even know how to explain this to you, to be honest with you. But, application denied. Okay, that's it. Yeah. All right, next on the agenda, Savadad Cattell, 34 Rainbow Lane, Levittown, PA. So 7, 8, and 9 are all for 34 Rainbow Lane, Levittown, PA. At different addresses. So are we gonna put these all together, or what are we doing here?
I think it makes sense to do, I'm sorry. Good evening, Mr. Chairman. My name's Paul Schultz, counsel for Ms. Cattell. Yes, I do think it makes sense to put them all together. I can hand up my notice documents and the presentations, and then we can do them, kind of proceed.
Is that all right with you, Keith? Okay. Okay, with, yeah. With our solicitor's advice, we're gonna do all separate, all right?
Okay.
So first one is 31 Kingwood Lane, Levittown, PA.
This is for Kingwood?
This is for Kingwood, it's the mailing of the proofs and the photos and affidavit posting.
Great, thanks.
All right, Mr. Schultz, you may proceed.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Here tonight on behalf of Seb de Catal, the applicant for the property at 31 Kingwood Lane, Levittown, PA. What we're seeking tonight is a variance to permit a rooming house allowing rental to up to 7 unrelated individuals. I'm going to summarize the application, and then I'll have Ms. Catal offer some brief testimony on what we're looking for. We have, briefly, if we could go to the next couple pages, our application, which will indicate, if we go, I'm sorry, to the next page there, indicate that we're looking for relief from section 205-28 of the code for the R3 zone where this property is located, to allow a rooming house which is not permitted. The rooming house that we're looking to allow, just for some clarification, I know there was some information out in the public. We're not looking for any housing for drug rehabilitation, alcohol rehabilitation, special needs. It was difficult to find the exact term that we were looking for. So I think when a previous application was withdrawn, we called it a group home, which it certainly is not. It is not anything for drug or alcohol rehabilitation. What this would be is a home to allow up to, rooming house to allow up to 7 unrelated individuals rather than a single family, one family unit. If we could just flip up to past the application. Sorry, just the deed I put in the record to indicate that Ms. Catal is the record owner of the property that we're here for today. We can just go past the deed. Relief requested from the zoning board. As I said, we need relief from section 205-28. Township code does not permit a rooming house, so a use variance would be required. The applicant seeks approval to seek a use variance, in this case, with a house that has 5 bedrooms and 2 baths that would be able to accommodate the up to 7 individuals. And as I said before, the applicant does not intend to use this property as recovery, halfway house, group home, or any other similar use. And if we could just leave it right there for a second, I'll go over the legal standards in a second after I have Ms. Catal come up to answer a few questions.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Yes.
Can you state your name, please?
Seb de Catal?
Is it S-E-V-D-A?
Yes, C-A-T-A-L. Thank you.
And Ms. Catal, are you the owner of the property that I've spoken about?
Yes,
Okay. And this property, as I correctly indicated, just let us know for the record that you seek approval to allow up to 7 unrelated individuals to live in this home, correct?
yes,
And am I correct that it's a 5-bedroom, 2-bathroom home?
yes.
Okay. And you are the owner of the home?
Yes.
Okay. When you purchased the home, did you purchase it with the intent to rent it to 7 unrelated individuals?
No.
What was your intent in purchasing the home?
So just to rent to the families, regular.
Would it be fair to say it was an investment property to
Yes,
rent to
it is.
families? Okay. And at some point, there was a change in the decision and you decided to rent it for 7 unrelated individuals, correct?
Correct.
What brought about that change?
My workers, they asked me about it, if the
Oh.
house is rent.
Okay, so,
My workers was asking me about it. That's what I was planning to then rent them out.
so just to clarify, you said your workers, so you have a construction company, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And your workers had inquired with you about housing needs?
Yes.
Okay. And at that point, when your workers inquired with you about housing needs, did you change your idea for use of the property?
Yes.
Okay. And these individuals that work for you, when you have someone that you hire, do you do appropriate screening to make sure that they are legally authorized to work in this country?
Correct.
Okay. So you do not intend to rent to people that do not have legal working status? You're not intending or you're not renting to people that do not have legal working status? Okay. Do you, when you hire individuals, you do not look to hire people with drug or alcohol issues, correct? And you're not looking to put those people in your home?
No.
Okay. Let me, if we can go on a little, I think there's some photos of the property. If we just skip over, yeah, to there are the photos. Okay, can we please go to the first one? Are these photos, we'll go through them. I mean, obviously, this is a bathroom at the property, correct?
Correct.
If we go to the next one.
Yes.
Okay, and this would be the living area at the
Yes.
property. Okay. Kitchen?
Yes.
Let me ask you something when we have the kitchen there. There's only one kitchen at the property, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And then I guess the next one is a laundry room?
Yes.
Okay. And that's an outside view of the property, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And that's the driveway for the property, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Do you know how many cars can park in that driveway?
4.
Okay, so up to 4 cars can park in the driveway, okay. How many people are residing in the property at current?
5.
Okay, 5 people currently.
Yes.
And you are seeking to have up to 7?
Yes.
Okay. Had you in the past been issued a violation for renting this property without getting either a rental license or obtaining approval for a variance from the board?
Yes.
Okay. And is there a reason that you didn't get the approvals before renting the property?
Yes.
And why not?
Because I didn't know about it, that I have to do all the application for the,
You were unfamiliar with the process?
yes.
Okay. Has the violation, how does it stand right now? Is it pending? Has it been resolved?
It is resolved.
Okay, and did you pay a fine for the violation? Okay. You've heard me indicate that your proposed use of the property, were your workers that were looking for housing, were they having issues finding affordable rental or living properties before? I'm sorry, just wait till I finish before, so it's easier for the court reporter. Were they having problems finding affordable properties or other places that they could rent or live at until you provided this option?
Yes.
Okay. And the size of these houses, I'm sorry, this house, we're doing them one at a time, 5 bedrooms, 2 baths, is that, you believe, particularly suited to allow 7 people to reside there?
Yes.
Okay, as opposed to a smaller house?
Smaller.
Okay, and this would provide more space and more living area?
Yes.
Okay, if we could just go past there. And I believe that's, let me just ask a couple questions as to any potential negative issues. Have any of the residents in your houses here, have they engaged in any noise, drug use, anything else that you're aware of?
No.
Okay. Have there been any violations for trash issues or other violations?
No.
Okay. Other than the one for not having a rental license?
No.
Okay. And you intend to, do you have actual rental agreements, written leases with any of these people?
Yes.
Okay. How much is the rent for each individual?
Well, the house is 2,500, so if, right now it's 5 people there, they share 2,500, so,
Okay, and the intent, if granted, would be for the total rent to be 2,500, regardless of, if there's 7 occupants, they're just paying less per person?
yes,
Okay. And you believe this is a service you want to provide your employers to assist them with housing?
yes.
Okay. I think that's all the questions I have for Ms. Catal here, other than any questions from the board and the public, and then I'll obviously do a summary at the end. Stay there, please.
So, Ms. Catal, do you have a rental agreement with the township now?
Yes,
You do? All right.
I do.
Anybody else from the board have any questions?
I do. What's the hardship?
Ms. Catal, the question was, what hardship will you suffer if this variance is not granted?
They couldn't find the house.
No, the hardship for the house, not the workers.
What do you mean, like?
Did you try to sell the house or try to put the house on the market to sell it? And
No,
okay. Are you intending to seek to sell it?
no.
Okay. I guess in terms of a hardship, well, there is the hardship to Ms. Catal if she's unable to do anything with these properties, that she will have multiple properties that would go unused, which would not be, not be at maximum use. So.
Well, I don't think economic is considered a hardship, right? I mean,
Right.
that's,
That's what I told you about the standard. Yeah, I don't believe that there is, other than the hardships that we've outlined so far, but I don't believe anything else that we have under the standard.
listen, I'm just gonna make a statement. This might be apples and oranges here, but, I mean, the rooming house part of it, you can't even have, you can't rent out your house for an Airbnb in this township. So, I mean, this is kind of like going to the next extreme, is what I'm trying to get at. That's just for general knowledge. Might be something you want to think about. So, anybody else have any questions on this application? Bo? Okay, so here we go. Are you done, Mr. Schultz?
Yes, other than maybe a brief summary at the end, yes.
Okay, all right, so anybody from the audience like to come up
We should step away here and run to the audience.
for or against this project? All right, so we come up, make our statements. We're not here to call anybody any names, any derogatory remarks, right? Everybody understands, right? All right. What's that?
Good evening. My name is, pardon? Oh. Okay.
Can you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Can you state and spell your name for the record, please?
What was that? Anise Bonner.
Can you spell it, please?
Anaisebonner. Okay? Good evening. My name is Anise Bonner.
Try to speak into the microphone.
Okay. I am an original Levittown homeowner, 1955. I'm 95 years old. I live by myself across the street from the property requesting the variance. I bought a house in a zoned residential single-family neighborhood. The zoning has not changed. The township map shows that Kenwood is in the R3 residential district, and the code says, quote, "The purpose of this district is to provide for higher intensities of residential development consistent with the existing neighborhoods and to protect these areas from the negative impacts of incompatible land uses," unquote. And to summarize the township code on variances, the zoning hearing board shall have the power to adapt the strict application of zoning in the case where it would result in a peculiar and exceptional and undue hardship upon the owner of such property, but not in any other case. I repeat, a variance requires undue hardship. Here, the applicant wants to make money. That is not a hardship created by the zoning. The applicant wants housing for its workers, rentals. Again, that is not a hardship for the applicant. There are multifamily options available for the workers and renters. If the applicant wants to increase the availability of such housing, they should buy property already zoned for multifamily housing. The purpose of zoning is to protect homeowners from non-conforming development, such as stores, factories, businesses, apartments, or other multifamily housing in their community. The applicant has to justify hardship and that the variance is appropriate, not simply jam more housing into Levittown or to make money. They can build elsewhere that the ground is zoned for group homes or rentals. The zoning rules haven't been changed to support group homes or rentals, so without demonstrating hardship, there is no justification for a variance. This is a request for a change. You can and must say no. I bought a house in a zoned residential neighborhood. There are places already zoned for person's households. This is not one of them. If the variance is granted, it will have a negative effect on our neighborhood. One reason is the additional cars. This house is located on a very big bend on the road. It is already difficult to drive there. It is very difficult if there are a lot of cars parked in the street. In addition, I don't even see where there is space for all those people to park. It will create a dangerous situation. It will also rapidly change the character of the neighborhood, which was designed for families. The values of our properties will decline. In addition, zoned single-family residential neighborhoods are not appropriate places for profit-making. What if neighbors want to use their home as a dentist office, a beauty parlor, a daycare, or a barber shop? The nature and benefits of a residential neighborhood evaporate. Safe places to play, few cars, few strangers in the neighborhood. There are proper places for people to make a profit on their property. Land that is zoned that way and provides the needed infrastructure, such as parking and wide streets. Our neighborhood does not. What is to stop the next variance from being approved and the one after that? That is a haphazard approach. Zoning is a tool to protect the quality of our township, providing the spaces to live in quality neighborhoods and other necessary places for people to make a profit on their land. Okay, I think I read that. No, let me see. It's not a place to make a profit. Instead of destroying the established neighborhoods, the town must deny this variance. People who want to make a profit on their property should buy property where they are zoned for that. If you approve this variance, investors will be encouraged to buy up more and more of houses for sale in my neighborhood and turn them into group homes or rentals to make a profit. Then we will no longer have a family neighborhood. The owner is asking for a variance they have no rights to. Bristol, did I read this part before? I don't remember. Did I read that part before? No, Anita. Oh, okay. Bristol Township Code says that the purpose of R3 residential district is to provide for residential development consistent with existing neighborhoods and to protect these areas from the negative impacts of incompatible land uses. This proposal is not consistent with our existing single-family residential neighborhood, and as I have pointed out, will have a negative effect. The requested change does not address any peculiar or exceptional or undue hardship upon the owner of the property and must be denied as required by township code. Furthermore, the commission should not reward the predatory behavior of this applicant by approving an unjustified variance by someone with obvious intent purchased this house with the sole purpose of violating our zoning rules, as demonstrated by the multiple non-related people who have been living there since it was purchased. Approaching this variance will only invite more predatory invasion of our community to circumvent our rules that you were placed on the board to uphold. These type homes are not allowed in our community because they obviously degrade the safety, quality of life of the community. While I hope and expect you will do the right thing here, I am fully prepared to pursue legal actions that I have the wherewithal and resources to pursue and ensure you uphold the rules that you took an oath to follow. Thank you.
Thanks, thank you. But let me ask you a question. How many unrelated individuals can she rent this house out to?
It's any number of unrelated individuals. But if I can piggyback also, she stated that she has a rental application for this.
Yes.
That is not approved.
Okay,
Okay, so that's for all three properties also that I just checked.
okay.
They are submitted, but they are not approved because this is a rooming house.
So can two people move into this house that are not related?
Acting as a family,
I don't, I don't know, that's why I'm asking.
acting as a family, yes. I guess you could say if it's gotta be a family in a residential area, renting a house as a family, using a family dwelling.
Someone and significant other,
Exactly, they would be acting as a family, it's a couple renting a property.
children.
Yes, children, things of that nature.
So me and you couldn't go in there and rent this place out?
No, we will be renting separate rooms at that point,
Right,
and
okay,
then we will be sharing common areas,
okay,
such as a kitchen, such as a bathroom,
okay.
living
All right.
room.
All right, thank you. So anybody else? Okay, let me just, so we're doing these applications separate, so if you live close to this house, that's fine, okay? And then the next application, whoever lives close to that house will come up and state for the record, all right? So, all right, ma'am, come on, please, come on up.
Yes. It's M-A-A-R-J-A. Last name is P-Y-R-C-Z-A-K. Good evening. So I live 36 Kingwood Lane. I live also 36 Kingwood Lane, across from the property. And I myself run a construction business as well. I'm not here decked out in designer goods,
Yeah,
asking
all right,
for a
listen.
hardship.
This is not what we're here for.
I know,
All right?
but
There's
what I'm
not- No, listen, just stop, all right? There's no need to bring up her clothing or anything like that. It has nothing to do with anything here.
I
all right?
apologize, but what I'm trying to say is that, as you stated before, that everybody requires permit for all the work.
That's correct.
And my company actually did the roof on this house, and we had to get the permits. When the remodeling was done for this house, I did not see any permits. And, I'm first time here in a zoning board meeting for Bristol Township. And you, as a board, seem to take things seriously, that permits have to be taken and so on. There's multiple houses in Kingwood Lane that I have not seen permits. I have called the township, especially on this property, when they did some work, and they just said, oh, you're a renter. Yes, by the way, I'm a renter, and I have an agreement in place, and I know that my landlord has to pay some dues for the township and so forth. You know, I, as a renter, responsible for shoveling the snow, for cutting the grass, maintaining the property. With those winds here in past few days, or even past few months, like with bad weather, we don't see them maintaining the property. They cleaned up in the fall, whatever, once they cleaned up the leaves that are clogging the sewers on the street. Nobody's saying anything about that. I don't see any township officials coming and checking that, you know, there can be drainage issues and so forth. Nobody's giving violations, seems to be. But if I would not do something, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna get a violation. And when I call to complain about something to township, they say, well, you're a renter, you have no rights. You know, so again, and like Mrs. Bonner mentioned regarding parking, they have multiple vans there. They are parking on the street. The neighbors have a hard time, whoever, like Mrs. Bonner, who is 95 years old, has a hard time backing out because she can hit that car because it is on the curb. They, you know, the cars are parked on the street when the applicant states that there are 4 cars can be parked in the driveway. And they stating that there's 5 bedrooms. There's 4 bedrooms in that apartment and 2 huge living areas. So there's no 5 bedrooms there. That would be it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Come on up, man.
Yes. Jessica Shields. May I ask a question of the applicant?
No, everything
No?
towards the board,
Okay.
direct to the board.
So my concern is that there would be up to 7 unrelated individuals, potentially men, living in this house. And I have 2 young children and I live at 26 Kingwood Lane, and I would not know any of them. That makes me very concerned.
Gotcha, understandable.
That's all I have to say.
Could I just add one thing I forgot? There's a playground across.
Hold on, man, hold on,
Sorry.
one at a time. Mr. Schultz, would you like to react to any of this comments or concerns that the citizens have?
Mr. Chairman, I think I could wait till the end and do it all at once. It might be more productive unless there's very specific
No?
questions.
All right.
Okay.
Anybody else? All right, Ms. Bonner, go ahead. You gotta come up to the microphone. You gotta come up to the microphone, yeah?
I'm 95, remember that. I don't act as.
You're doing great.
Which one? Oh, she got it.
You'll have to swear
up
in,
now.
yes.
Yes.
I forgot to mention that across the street from there is the Kenwood Park. Children play basketball there. Now, if they're going to run in the street in the cars, and there's people that rush up and down the street quite a bit. So I forgot to mention about the park being across the street from the 31 Kingwood Lane. And it is the Kenwood Park, so therefore, and some older people play basketball, but the young people there. Okay, thank you.
All right, I think you're up, Mr. Schultz.
Okay. In terms of addressing some of the issues that were raised by the public, I think issues with regard to, let me start at the end and move backwards. With the concern about, up to 7 unrelated gentlemen living there that are workers of Ms. Catal, I certainly understand the residents' concern, that with young children playing around, but I mean, you could have the same concerns if a family moved in. You wouldn't know the man or the men that were living there as well, if it was a single family. Understand the difference with 7 individuals. Ms. Catal also has indicated that these are workers that work for her company, and she also has an interest in making sure these individuals are not drug users or on any Megan's Law list or anything like that, because she wants people for her company that are not criminals or ne'er-do-wells as well. And you really could run into the same issues with, even as you said, to 2 individuals that are renting a place, related individuals. You know, in terms of traffic, I understand that 7 individuals is a little different than, you know, maybe a family that only has 2 cars. Here you might have 4 or 5 cars, but you know, this is not people running a business out of the house. They're not going to be driving up and down multiple hundreds of times. I don't think there's going to be any significant effect on traffic in the area. Regarding the earning of money by renting the home, Ms. Catal, if she rented to a family, she would still obtain money for doing so. And here she's renting to employees who I assume she's trying to give them a reasonable rate as well, and probably could earn the same or more if she's renting to a family.
Yeah, well, at this point, she can't rent to nobody,
No, I understand.
right?
We're kind of in transit, but I just raised those points to address the issues raised by community members.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate here. Can you explain the procedure for me on how she finds out if they're not drug users or on Megan's Law?
Right, I mean, you can run, yeah, I don't specifically do the background check or the HR for our firm, but I know that you can have an HR department, or I'm not saying as a small business owner, I don't think she has a formal HR department, but you can have those background checks or criminal checks run. I will be honest with you, I can't tell you that I know the exact procedure for doing so.
Okay, all right. Well, no, because you brought it up, and I
Certainly, and I'm
I
no
thought there was
expert
a
on the procedure.
procedure in place to find this stuff out.
No.
Okay. All right, well, that was fun. Go ahead, Colleen.
I vote to deny the application.
I'll second.
Okay, there we have it. I'm going to call the board. We have a motion in place to deny the application. Gerard Lycon,
Yes.
Mark DeMarcus,
Yes.
Colleen Dunn, Jim McMahon, yes. Okay.
Can I have a moment with my client? I know we have 2 others pending. Obviously, I want to have a discussion real quick.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
5-minute recess. Let's make it, yeah, 5-minute recess. For what, though? For what one? Oh, okay. Yeah. to say anything bad. All right, let's get back to it. Okay, Mr. Schultz, do you have something to add to this, please?
Yes, just briefly. I know we finished the first application, which was obviously denied by the board. Seeing the residents' comments and the board's thoughts on the subject, I don't think it makes sense to proceed with the other two, so they will be withdrawn. We won't be pursuing them based on the feedback from the board and the residents. So I'll do that officially on the record. If you need me to submit a letter, if I could just make that representation, I don't know what your solicitor prefers.
On the record's fine.
On the
Okay.
record's fine.
And then I will just state also that just, and I think this would be more for the enforcement end, I believe the Edgeley property does not have anybody in there currently. It's empty. We'll do what we have to do on the other property to be in compliance.
Okay. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
Yep. Thank-
Can I say something, please, in response to what he just said about 1825 Edgeley? I'm sorry. That house has just been cleaned out. There's been renters there
hold
for
on,
2.5
ma'am.
years.
yeah,
Okay, but that's not true.
Okay,
just
you,
said.
well, you're gonna have to bring that up with the township. You're gonna have to call them in the morning. It's, right now, they withdraw their application. This matter's closed at this time.
Okay.
So, so anybody that was here for 7, 8, and 9, so that's, let's see, that's 52 Kenwood Drive, and it's 1825 Edgeley Drive. The applications are withdrawn, so if you want to stick around, and that's fine with us. If not, you may go. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, okay, I see.
I bought my mom and dad's house. And when I bought it, the school wasn't right up my butt. And now that's
Okay,
looking like
if you guys want to have a conversation, can you have it out in the lobby, please?
yeah. All right.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, last on the agenda is Joshua Lepore, P.O. Box 1334, Bensalem, PA. Please come on up. Huh? Yeah. No, that was I'm sorry, that was a continuance.
Oh, thank you.
I put his name on your card. You're welcome. I got my.
Okay, counsel, you can proceed.
Proceed. Thank you. Good evening. My name is Chelsea Jackman. I'm an attorney with Begley, Carlin, Mandio. I'm here tonight on behalf of the applicants Joshua and Tara Lepore.
Is that other microphone hanging out somewhere? 'Cause
Yes, it's right next to it.
Sorry, thank you, Cindy. Ready? Thank you. The subject property is 1557 Newport Road. The tax parcel number is 05022606002. That's in the R1 residential district. The property is 15,254 square feet. It's presently improved with a single-family dwelling and at this point, relevantly, the driveway. When the Lepores purchased the property, it was a mess, to say the least. Without first obtaining permits, admittedly, they expanded their driveway, adding impervious surface to the property. They did so. This allowed vehicles behind their home to move more easily to go back out onto the property when they were perpendicular, to the property. When they purchased the home, the Lepores didn't realize this, but they were already at 38% impervious surface in excess of the maximum allowed 30%. They installed a privacy fence over here once the driveway was expanded. We originally filed an application to install stormwater facilities to mitigate the additional stormwater runoff, which would result from the added impervious. We continued the matter to improve the condition further, and engineer Vince Fioravani, who's present to my left, will testify momentarily that he reviewed the plan and modified the proposal. There's now approximately 1,600 square feet, and if you take a look at where my pointer is over here, 1,600 square feet of gravel, which the applicant proposes to remove. The result of this is actually to improve the stormwater condition from what it was prior to my client's acquisition of the property. So while we're mindful of what we believe the neighbor's concern would be regarding runoff, the truth is this will improve the situation versus just eliminate the driveway and impervious surface. So we therefore need one, if you could just go to the next slide, please. We therefore need one variance for impervious surface to allow for 58% to remain, but it will mitigate the stormwater all the way back to 30%, and everything else would be compliant. So just to reiterate the numbers, so obviously the maximum impervious allowed is 30%. When Mr. Lepore purchased the property, it was already at 38%. So post-work, as it sits right now, it's at 68%. And what we are proposing is post-remediation and removing that 1,600 square feet, it would take it down to 58%. But with the current stormwater management system, it would bring it all the way back down to pre-purchase use of 30% of impervious surface. So with that, I'm going to ask Mr. Fioravani to come up and give a little bit more detail. If you could please go to the next slide. And so I'll give you my...
Sure. Excuse me. Keep it down in the back, please. Thank you.
I'll give it a minute. Oh, good, I like that. Take this out of the way. So, Mr. Fioravani, can you tell the board where you employed? Oh, I'm sorry.
Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
I do.
Mr. Fioravani, can you tell the board where you employed?
Our office is in Southampton, 618 Street Road, Southampton, PA.
And what professional licenses do you hold?
Professional engineer and professional land surveyor in Pennsylvania, Jersey, Maryland, and Delaware.
Have you testified here before the Bristol Township Zoning Hearing Board?
Yes.
Have you been qualified as an expert here before at the Bristol Township Zoning Hearing Board?
Yes.
I'd move to have Mr. Fioravani qualified as an expert in civil engineering.
Board does not object.
Thank you. Mr. Fioravani, did you visit the site?
I did.
And did you prepare the site plan that we are presenting here this evening on the screen up there?
Yes, I did.
Can you tell the board the existing conditions on the site?
Yes, I'll be referring to the exhibit that's on the projection screen. The conditions that we were able to obtain from the county GIS show the conditions in 2022. where the dwelling is here, and the driveway has some expansion in the front already. Again, 38% in its pre-existing condition, we'll call it. And the 2023 aerial shows its current condition, 68%, I believe, in its current condition, with the expanded driveway, the walkway, and the gravel paving in the rear and the shed.
Can you tell the board, should the plan be approved this evening, what the proposal entails?
Looking at when we first were looking at this, our first reaction was we need to control the stormwater, which we had a design that would take care of that. But then when we were asked to take a harder look and look at it, I had really two objectives. One was to make it more in character with the surrounding residential community, and second, to make sure that the stormwater management system would mitigate stormwater impacts all the way back to 30% compliant ratio, which is even further back than when the applicant purchased the property, as shown on that 2022 aerial.
Did you want to move to the next slide? I think it entails some of the details of what you just discussed.
This slide just essentially shows overall drainage patterns. The red dot here is where the property site is located. Everything is going eventually to the Neshaminy Creek to the left, comes down from right to left on this exhibit, goes around the house in two directions. There's drainage swales on the side of Newport Road. So essentially the flow from upstream comes down, either goes to the front or to the rear in drainage swales down to the Neshaminy. And this will be important later when you're looking at how to capture and control the runoff.
Can you
go to the next slide?
Go ahead.
This again is just a summary of the existing that we discussed. The pre-existing ratios, 38, right now 68. What's proposed is 57. If you were to look at the difference between the impervious surfaces, sometimes percentages can be misleading. I can have, one egg on the ground and I put another one down. I did 100% expansion, but it really wasn't that big of a number. But when we look at the total impervious here, the pre-existing is 5827, and now the proposed with the removal of the gravel area, the proposed is 88. So we're talking about 3,000 square feet of impervious surface.
Can you say with a reasonable degree of scientific certainty in the field of civil engineering all of the conclusions to which you've just provided to the board?
Yes.
And I think the next slide does entail some photographs of what the trench drain would look like if you wanted to detail that.
Yes, and this is just an explanation of where we think the best solution would be to mitigate the impacts here. First, we talked about trying to transform the property back into a more residential appearing property. And by that, I mean essentially having the rear yard, as most properties do, mostly lawn. And if you look, we're looking at removing all of this gravel paving here so that now the entire rear of the property is lawn. I'll go to a Google Earth image next and show the properties that are upstream, and we can see them here. So here's our site. Here's the gravel area that we're looking to remove. And these are all large lots, in relation to the others. If you look at the lots upstream of us, they also have what I consider relatively intense uses of the rear yard. You can look at the three pools here, look at the pool deck, the size, the rectangular shape of the impervious surface. Seems equivalent really to what we have here in our rear yard, but it'll be less when we remove this. We're gonna have that lawn area in the back, just like they do in their lots. And I think we'll only have a house on the driveway, albeit an expanded driveway. But the rear now will be lawn, and I think it'll match better with the surrounding lots. And I'm looking at the lots that are equivalent in dimension and area to ours. So you look to the right and you see these lots over here. And I think without the gravel area, this lot now really kind of conforms to the remaining lots that are similar in dimension. So that was my one goal, was to make it more of a normal residential lot, removing the paving in the rear. If you can go back to the previous slide. So this slide shows that, but it shows how we intend to control the stormwater. The paving is up to the privacy fence here. So what we're trying to do is capture most of the house. All the new impervious surfaces is really the walkway and this gravel, this paved area here. The gravel will be removed. So by installing a trench drain, these trench drains are pre-sloped and they make them suitable for traffic-bearing pre-sloped trench drains. So by installing trench drains in this area, any runoff that's flowing towards the adjoiner that's downhill will be captured by the trench drain. It's shown right here, and there's a pre-slope to it. So it can be level on the surface, but the bottom is sloped. So the water will be then conveyed to an inlet then into a stormwater system, which is underground, as I'm pointing to different details on the plan. So we're going to capture all the water that drains from the top of the screen to the bottom will be captured by grading and inlets into this seepage bed. The paving and the house will be captured by the trench drain into the seepage bed. When you're in the seepage bed, the soils from the soil services survey, and we haven't had a soil scientist out here yet, but they're deep and well drained, and we expect the contents of the bed to drain within 48 hours. The typical recommendation is 72 hours. So when we're finished, we size this bed to capture enough water so that it's the same as this site being 30% impervious. So during all the storms, there'll be less runoff coming here when we're finished than there was before our applicant purchased the property, even way back before the prior owner added this section of paving here. So all the way back to 30% compliant. We can do it with the stormwater bed sized the way we have it sized here. It would still have to be submitted to the township engineer to review our calculations. And we would get a soil scientist to do soil testing here. But we can control the stormwater, we can release it here, and release it at a rate that's less than it should have been if no one ever expanded anything. So
And
that's kind
just-
of our proposal.
And just to state the obvious, the little circles at the bottom right hand of the top photograph, are those trees?
Yes, we also thought we would plant evergreen trees just to provide additional buffering. And actually, evergreens in most ordinances give you stormwater credits, and we're not even counting those in the size of it. That's just really for an aesthetic value, a separation, and again, to provide more of a residential feel to the property.
Is there anything else you'd like the board to know?
No, I think that's it. I think in this manner that any downstream adjoiners would be protected, and I think it would match the surrounding area adjoiners.
Thank you. May I call Mr. Lepore? You're going to be sworn.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Lepore, you heard my statements and Mr. Fioravani's statements this evening to the board. Is there anything, first of all, do you understood everything that we said?
Correct.
And do you agree with everything that we said?
Yes.
Is there anything that you would like to add to the statements that we've made to the board this evening?
I do not.
Are you willing to adopt my statements to the board this evening as your own testimony?
Yes.
Do you understand that in the future, you must apply for permits for any alterations to your driveway, to your home, to your yard, to your garage, to your sidewalk, to anything that you must apply for permits?
Correct. Yes.
And you were unaware of your impervious surface when you when you purchased this home, correct?
I did.
And you were also unaware of it when you built more impervious surface, correct?
Yes.
You want to do this correctly, correct?
That is correct.
And you want to be a good neighbor?
Absolutely.
And you know that in the future, you're always to seek what?
Permit.
Thank you. That'll conclude my presentation. Any questions?
Anybody have any questions? Anybody, Bo, you got anything to add? Anybody from the audience? Come on up, man.
Hello, my name is Ilona Burkhardt Carnavale.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Oh, yes.
Can you spell your name, please?
Ilona Carnevale. But sometimes I use Burkhardt also behind Ilona if you want to put this down. Burkhardt. Okay, I do appreciate him, whatever the engineer coming up, I know something about that too. But I'd like you to show you some pictures that would show you some of these things that the issues were. After, and this is before. Okay, gives you an idea what it looked like before Anyone else want some? Want to see it?
Okay, directed on board.
Oh,
It'll go off after a while.
Counsel, would you like to see those?
Yes, thank you.
Huh?
I approach.
Yeah. What did I, there you go.
What's before and what's after?
Okay, ma'am, you can,
okay. But I also want to tell you, I know Mr. Lepore mentioned that the property was a mess. It was a beautiful house at one time, custom built, with lots of bathrooms, even bidet, very nice inside. But there was always a problem with water in the basement. Okay? 2 owners were in there. The last owner left maybe 2 years ago. It was left, the outside was left go. Yes, the outside was a mess, but not the inside. But anyway, I lived in my property right next door. We built a house, which is also a custom home. We built that in '96 and kept it up really, anyone can see it in nice shape always. And everything, really beautiful. But anyway, as you can see on the picture there, I had borderline trees. Okay, you can see them, they were there. And I kept also the property next to me, even though they left it go, but between us, I always kept it, and I asked the people, do you mind? They said, no, we don't care about the outside, and I kept it nice. As you can see, there were trees there, there were rhododendron bushes, and I worked hard. I'm 82 years old, I love to work outside, okay? And I do as much as I can to keep it nice. But anyway, when actually the Lepores came, in fact, I don't think they even had the property surveyed. They asked me, do you know what the property line is? And I said, I don't know. I've been here for a long time, there was never a problem. So I even showed him, he said, oh, show me it. I said, I have a sketch of the property. So he said, okay, so he said, yeah, well, could I see it? And they strictly went by this, and they started cutting down my trees, okay, which I kept trimmed, everything I kept trimmed. He didn't even ask, he even cut the branches were hanging over from a red maple. He even had them cut all the way, so they would, but yet there was an electric pole. How come he didn't have that cut or removed? That was in the way. Well, so I've been working very hard to keep that property, and I have a really bad problem with the drainage on there. As you can see on the picture, I had someone coming in. Before it was all overgrown, it's true. It needed a good cut and trimming, but there were trees. But the ground absorbed all that extra moisture. And when he redid this, it was running off on my property. And he left it a mess. You can see the stones, they put the fence in. At one point, I have it on here on record, I even lost my electric because when they put the fence posts in, after a few days, I had no phone, no TV, nothing. And when I called the people up from Verizon, I said, why didn't it happen right away? They said, most likely when the concrete dries after they put the posts in, that's when it snapped. So I had to deal with that then. I've had to deal with all kinds of things. I wanted to try to speak with him one day, and he got real mean, the younger one, and said, get off my property. I was willing to talk with him nice and try to work this out. But as you can see, I have nice trees. Then they put the fence up, and there's pictures of it. They treated the fence after I planted new bushes. They treated the fence, and the spray came through when he did the I think you can see the stain on the fence probably, what is it called? I guess, you know, protector for the fence. It sprayed through and it killed my new bushes I bought and rhododendrons. And so this is just was not right. And you saw I had a drain put in, and that's not even working anymore. It's not enough. As you can see, the property comes up.
So this is the picture of your drain?
That's mine.
Okay.
So I put a lot of money out already, and I have more money to put out to fix the problem. Because the stones, they just left it there. They didn't even care after they put the fence in, and they put the nice side toward them and the ugly side toward me. Had all the stones laying there, nothing. So it's been really, really a mess. And I'm the kind of neighbor, I like to get along with my neighbors. I don't complain about anything. And what else can I say?
So Verizon told you your Verizon and your electric is
yes, because it was
underground?
After they...
Let me finish the question first.
Go ahead.
Before you. So Verizon, your electric and your Verizon is underground, or is it a
No, Verizon. It was Verizon.
Okay.
Okay.
So
So I had no TV, no internet, and no phone.
But your Verizon is buried in the ground, or is it above?
It was in the ground.
It was in the ground.
Yes, and when they, and when they came and dug for them, they just, boom, 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 they just went along and dug their posts in, as you can see the posts.
Okay.
And after that, it was a few days later, for 3 or 4 days, I couldn't believe what happened. I had no communication there at all. And when I called them up, they fixed it, and they think what they think happened is probably it comes at an angle over to my property, that when the concrete dried,
Right.
it snapped the wires.
The reason I'm asking, because it's really sort of unheard of not unheard of, but around here it's unheard of for Verizon to be in the ground. It's usually
Yes.
It's usually aerial.
No, it is in the ground, yeah.
Okay. All right. Listen, I believe you.
Oh, no, you can still see it where they had to dig a new trench to put them in.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Thank you.
So, and like I said, with me having to do so much work, I mean, myself, as much as I like it, it's getting too much for me.
Right. Okay. Well, we're going to let them address your concerns, if that's all right. Are you done with?
Yeah, I definitely want to, but now I cleaned up, I had to clean up my property.
Right.
And I had to replant bushes when that spray from that preservative came through. So it's been a lot of aggravation for me. And for them to treat me, to talk to me, get off my property, when I just wanted to talk and try to straighten it out, which is usually what I would like to do before anything else. And then when he used this against me, I thought it was a backstabber, that he went by this measurement. They didn't even have it surveyed. They went by this measurement that I gave him. And they just put their stake in there, and they went by this, cut everything down. And the trees would not have been in their way. They could have trimmed the trees, no problem with that. Right. But they did not have to take them down all the way. I even planted them all myself years ago.
Okay, thank you. All right. You're up.
Thank you for the opportunity to briefly respond. I first want to start by addressing just a couple of things that were said that I had questioned my client, and I will submit by way of proffer if that's okay. That Mr. Lepore did put a fence up, and had to cut those trees down because they were on his property. He received a permit for that fence from the township and had a plot plan for that fence. It was his right to do. Here's the way that I see this, if I may. You all have two choices today. You could deny, and my client would have to remove everything that he's done, or you can approve, and the neighbor would get the chance to have her property and the runoff improved more so than before he purchased it. I realize she's very upset, and she has right to be. This is her home. There were things that she didn't like that that happened because of a neighbor, but today could be a new beginning. Today could be the time when both win. It's a win-win. If you approve it, you also improve the stormwater runoff, and they can move on as neighbors with both of them getting what they want. Our client gets to keep most of what they have put in, but keep in mind, they are gonna be removing some of the improvements that they've already done, 1,600 square feet of gravel. So I submit, nobody loses if the board approves this evening.
Was the property surveyed? No. Okay. So if the property wasn't surveyed, how do you know that fence is on your property?
The neighbor had it surveyed and showed me where. Sorry. The neighbor Harrison had his property surveyed, so he had a pin, so I had the plot plan from the township. I measured off of his pin to the fence line.
Bo, is it necessary for them to have it surveyed to put this fence up, or?
They are permitted to draw their own survey.
Okay.
It is not required to have a professional.
All right. And the only way we'll know if it's not on his property or her property, if she has her property surveyed. That's right. Right. Okay. All right. All right. What's that called? Sir, sure, come on up.
Joel Lepore. Swear to tell the truth?
Swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes.
You state your name, please.
Joel.
Hey, Counselor.
May I have a brief moment, please?
Oh, sure. I think that's a great idea.
If I may, Mr. Lepore wanted the board to know that it was a rolled painting on the fence. It was not sprayed onto her property. He wanted to make sure that the board was aware that that was the correction.
Not that it's any of my,
Joseph Lepore?
Joel.
Joel. Joel.
Gioele. Gioele. Joel Lepore. My father, sorry. He's an immigrant.
so, not that it's any of my business, but what's your plans for this property? You gonna live in it? You're selling
I have
it?
it rented right now.
You're renting it?
Yes, I have a renting permit for it.
I assumed you did.
Yes.
All right. All right. Anybody else from the audience?
Can we go back to the last slide?
You
Sorry,
better talk
can
to
we
her
go back to the last
first.
slide? Her property's right next to mine, and her blacktop is quite a bit as much as I have, I believe. Just to, that's what she's.
I wouldn't do that if I was you.
Okay.
I don't think that's necessary at this point. Unless you guys want to hear what he has to say. I mean,
Excuse me?
pretty much nitpicking at this point, but
absolutely.
whatever. Okay. I need a motion. For or against? Hit me with it.
I'll give a motion for it.
I need a second. Okay. I got no second. I need a motion to deny.
I'll make that motion.
I need a second.
I'll second.
All right. The board, Colleen Dunn on the denial.
Yes.
Jim McMahon, yes. Mark DeMarcus.
Yes.
Gerard Lycon.
No.
There you go. All right, we had it. There you go. Okay, that's it. So for the record, I just want to state, for the record, the zoning hearing board meetings will be on the second Monday of the month in this building, for the record, all right? So I need a motion to adjourn.
I'll give a motion to adjourn.
Second.
I'll second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes